So pulling it all together, first things first, you should know that fear is a natural response to one's environment and at times very useful for protection. We have it built into our DNA, our genetics, because we need to have that fear. So it's that instinct, is this dangerous situation? And we've had that for forever, since our conception on this earth. So fear is useful, but don't let it overtake you. However, fear, especially limiting beliefs, should not dictate your life or cause you to take a passive role in decisions that matter. So remember, if you think that it's going to dictate your life and put you in a passive role, then change the thought. Remember, you cannot have a positive and a negative thought at the same time. If you have a negative thought, think of 3 positive thoughts right away at the back end of that. Right away, and then it'll change the way you think. Remember, trust your gut or your instincts and ask for help. And rest assured that mistakes are bound to happen. You're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. And if you make a mistake, then you rebound and you start again. Remember, those successful people, anybody that's ever been successful has made so many mistakes. They've lost so much money, they've lost so much time, but they didn't lose hope. And they were focused and they were passionate and they eventually succeeded. So what's your long goal? What's your long-term goal? That's something that you have to keep in mind as well. And more important than making a mistake is how you bounce back and what you learn from an outcome. So remember, every mistake, on the flip side of a mistake is an outcome, is what you learn from it. So you're learning something, you're growing, and you won't make the same mistake again. So let your faith be bigger than your fear. Let that sink in. Let your faith be bigger than your fear. And you can do it. If you ever have a negative thought or a limiting belief of any kind, just throw it away and just say, you know what, that's my thinking. That's me. Remember, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. So when you think about a limiting belief, you're thinking about it from your own perspective, not from the outside world that could say, hey, do this, you can do it. So you try to connect to your inner hero. And here are some things. Maybe you want to take a picture of this on your phone, or you want to write this down. I'll leave it up for a minute. And write down your current limiting belief story in your head. What is your limiting belief? We all have one. I'm not good enough. I'll never make enough money. I won't be able to graduate with everyone else. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not whatever. So write down that current limiting belief story in your head. Write it down. Very important to write down what you think your limiting beliefs are. And then, number 2, write down what the story has cost you up to this point in your life by believing that limiting belief. Say you're thinking to yourself, I'm not smart enough, like I did when I was in grade 5, because I had to repeat grade 5, and I thought I'm not smart enough until I realized I was smart enough. And but what does it cost you by thinking about that constantly? It means you're not moving forward, you're not growing, and you've lost opportunities. So write down what that story has cost you up to that point in your life. Number 3, write down what could that story cost you moving forward if you don't change it. If I don't change the limiting belief that I'm not good enough, or I'm never going to make enough money, what is it going to cost me? It's going to cost you your future. It's going to cost you everything, because you're not going to believe in yourself, and no one else will believe in yourself. And if they don't believe in you and you don't believe in you, then you'll always, be standing still. So please write it down. What is it going to cost you if you don't move forward, if you don't change those limiting beliefs? So first of all, you have to know what your limiting beliefs are, and that's that number 1 sentence. Write it down. And number 4 is, what information did you find to prove your story is a lie? Remember, if you repeat a lie enough times, it becomes the truth. What that means is that if you say to yourself, you're not smart enough, you're not smart enough, and you repeat that lie to yourself, which absolutely is a lie, because you can always learn new things. We have the capacity to learn anything, and we're brilliant. We're born to learn and be brilliant. We're born to be amazing. We can do many things, but it's the way that you think that shapes your life. Absolutely. So What information did you find to prove that your story is a lie? Figure that out. Maybe somebody told you that when you were little. So move past that. Get over it. So they told you that, but that doesn't define you. Maybe a teacher told you something and you didn't like. I remember teachers telling me that I wasn't smart enough. I didn't like algebra and geometry and all those things because that's not my thing. And I always thought, well, you know, that's what I needed to finish high school, and I wasn't good enough. Like, what's wrong with me? I couldn't do chemistry. I mean, what's wrong with me? I'm not smart enough, because that wasn't the way that I was framed. That wasn't, you know, the way that I learned. We all have our own different learning styles. And that was not my learning style, but I had a different learning style. So think about these things. What's your inner hero? How can you connect to that? Find out what is your limiting belief and overcome it. And take action now. Remember, superheroes are everyone. Every occupation, every person out there is a superhero. They can all do amazing things, and they have. And if you just get to know everybody personally, you probably realize that everybody has a real unique talent. And maybe they're hiding it because they're afraid to, you know, they're afraid to expose themselves to, you know, they don't want to show the world something. Why not? Show the world that you're a superhero, that you have amazing talent. What's your idea? Make a plan, take the action, take an action and get out there and do it. What's holding you back? And here's my last question to you. Very, very important question that I've learned over the years, and I've asked myself this question many times. What would you attempt to do if you knew you couldn't fail? Write that down. What would you attempt to do if you knew you couldn't fail? If you knew absolutely you couldn't fail to do anything, you couldn't fail to make a lot of money, you couldn't fail to pass any exam, you couldn't fail to do anything in your life, well, how would that look like? What would you do if you knew that? If you knew that implicitly in your heart's heart, that you knew that you could never fail, what would it look like? You want to write that down. That's very important, because if you know what it is that you can do, if you couldn't fail, and even if it's a lie right now, it could become the truth. If you keep saying that I can do anything, I am amazing, I am whatever it is. So here's Albert Einstein's last couple of quotes. If at first the idea is not absurd, it's not ridiculous. Absurd is ridiculous. If at first the idea is not absurd, there's no hope for it. And a lot of times people think of things and go, that's stupid. I can never be this. I can never do that. Why not? If it's not absurd, if it's not ridiculous, there's no hope for it. And he also said, you can live as if nothing is a miracle, or you can live as if everything is a miracle. Which way do you choose to live? So what's your superpower? Think about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.